Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. With us today is Paul Zuber, and he's the Executive Vice President of the Business Council of the State of New York, representing 3,000 businesses, and he gives us the pulse of what's going on in New York State. And, well, Paul Zuber, what the heck is going on?
Well, you know, John, the governor released her budget this week. So let me start by saying it's not bad. It's not bad for business. I think the big positives out of her budget proposal is, first and foremost, she's not increasing taxes. I think that's a big issue. I think not oddly enough, but I think she listened to the business community because, as you know, several months ago we came out with something called the Blueprint for New York, where we surveyed all these business leaders throughout New York State, and the big thing that everybody said was a problem was regulations. We're an overregulated state. It's costing us money. That cost is impacting affordability. So to the governor's credit, she has put in some things where CEQA reform to make it easier to build in New York State. She's looking at some, regulatory reform and fixing some of these regulations. So I think there are a lot of positives out of the budget. But where I caution people, and what really truly worries me, is what I see going on in Albany with this growing movement to tax and spend our way out of everything. Because right now, it seems as though the mayor of New York City is not happy that
well, he's going to be $12 billion short over the next 2 years, too.
Yeah, he's $12 billion short over the next 2 years. So his solution is, well, we should tax millionaires and tax corporations. So my response to that is a couple of things. First, why should somebody or a company that lives in Syracuse, New York, or someone who's making over $1 million that lives in Nassau County, why should that person be required to fund a hole that exists in New York City? Because that's what will happen. You can't just tax, if you raise the corporate tax, you're raising the corporate tax on everybody. If you raise the income tax, you're raising it on everybody. So that's number one. But number two, I think there's more of a fundamental issue, which is if you raise taxes, whether you raise taxes, personal income taxes on millionaires or corporate taxes, you are ensuring the death of New York State, right? There are study after study has shown that people are leaving New York State. So is every millionaire going to leave New York State if you tax millionaires? No. But some will, and the perception of New York will only grow in the minds of every potential business that could consider coming to New York. Will grow in their minds that New York is just a tax-happy state. And if we want to build economic growth, it is not going to occur by taxing people and doing a spend and tax. And quite frankly, as a consumer, as a resident, as a voter, we all have to deal with our own personal finances, right? When we overcharge on our credit card, we have to pay our credit card. We don't suddenly magically get money by forcing our neighbor next door to pay for our credit card. And that's what it feels like here. I am sorry that Mayor Mamdani has walked into a budget crisis. It's an awful situation to be in, but that's the job he accepted. He accepted that job as mayor, and that's something that he's going to have to deal with. And quite frankly, raising taxes is not the solution. There's already an article by the New York Times that, business growth in New York City has halted. It's actually many businesses are closing. This is not the way to solve the issue. And I'm hopeful and I'm praying that the New York State legislature understands that as well. But John, there's a lot of pressure on him right now. Obviously, the Democratic Socialists, that movement, that group of advocates has grown in power and has grown in influence, and it is, they're primarying a lot of assembly members. They are trying to gain power in New York State, and I'm just hopeful that the legislature understands that tax and spend is not the solution for New York State.
Well, Paul Zuber, thank you for coming on this Sunday morning, and thank you for the update. I pray for New York City. I pray for New York State. I love the city. I love the state. And I hope they work it out so people stay in New York, not leave New York.
I agree, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.